Hey, what's up? What's happening? Hey, this is Hot. For those who know me, what's happening with y'all, man? Um, I was asked a question earlier today, or I got into a discussion with some people on Facebook, and the conversation about being awakened came up, right? So, what I wanted to do, what I had promised to do was to do a video and kind of try to explain a little bit of what I was trying to say because I didn't, with the situation being what it is, I didn't want a misunderstanding. So, when you think of awakened, I think the first thing people really need to understand is what awakened is. I really don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this in one setting because I don't want to make this long. I don't want to be, on here for hours after hours, just talking. So I want to do this as quickly as possible. So I might just do it in pieces. I think that's the best way to do this. But to be awakened, what what I would say being awakened is to me is when your mind is open to allow you to think freely without any particular like dogmas or whatever or anyone else's understandings, but just the stuff like the stuff that you learn that makes it that makes life open up to you differently or on a higher level, on a different plane than what you see a lot of people their abilities are to be able to do that because they're stuck in what they're doing. The problem with becoming awake is when you start to become awake, you become a brat. You become loudmouth. See, knowledge is a burden. That's the part of knowledge. That's one of the burdens of having knowledge. Look at me now. I'm sitting in front of a camera, explaining to you what awakens me. With knowledge comes responsibility, comes duty. So when people start to awaken, the first thing they want to do is they want to handle their function. They want to handle their job. So don't be mad at them. You know what I mean? Lower your wing, kind of. You know what I mean? Let them, give them a pass. You feel me? Because they're just trying to give you something, just like what our parents did with us when they were giving us Christianity. They didn't mean to give us something to hurt us. They didn't. That was not the intention, and it's not the intention today for those who still do it. You know. So when someone is trying to, hey man, well this is this, they're just really trying to share their knowledge, share their wisdom with you. Now, we think of religions and we cast them into boxes and we call them dogmas. Everything is categorized and given a name. For me, each one of these dogmas, each one of these boxes are life paths. This is a certain type of way that an individual picks up so they can carry themselves from point A to point B on a daily and get the most out of their life that they can get. This is out of their perception of what it is they have to get. For those who struggle, it's just something about us that we haven't gotten over, so we can get that, so we can attain that joy of what we have and who we have and where we're at in life. Coming out of this box of Christianity, let me explain myself. I was born and raised Christian. As I got older, I became a man, so I was able to demonstrate the fact that I was not agreeing with everything that I was told that I had to agree to as a child. So as I became older, I demonstrated more freedom in that aspect of my life. And eventually, I got to a point where I ended up in jail, right? And I was saying to myself, first of all, I was bored, sitting in there waiting to go to prison, not in jail, but so I'm waiting on this cart, the library dude brings it by, rolls it by, bring it up to the third tier, so I can grab a book, so I have something to do, keep my mind off of nothingness, you know what I mean, for the next few hours. So when he gets up there, he's only got one book on the cart. So I'm like, bro, let me get that book. He was like, you don't want this book, fam. You don't want this book. I said, man, give me the book. It was a Quran, right? As soon as I popped it open, read it, bam, I was in another box. Just that quick, just that easily, I was back on I was on a different path of life. I was now in the Islamic box. The words that I read spoke to me in that manner. It spoke to my core beliefs, the things that I actually believe. So when I read something, and the first thing I ever read out of it was, it hit me right on the nail, bang, I fell right in. So I began to practice Islamic tradition, and I started becoming versed in Islamic traditions. I became the muezzin, and the muezzin is the caller to prayer. There's a call to prayer. It was done by, it was popularized by a brother named Bilal. He was an African that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam requested him to be the muezzin. So he would call the prayer, the call to prayer. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I remember the whole thing. It's a lot longer than that and it gets deep. But, so, I was off and running. That's a beautiful culture, Islam is. It is. It's a beautiful culture. And it became the point, though, for me, as I was still growing. Because I am on a life journey. This was a life path. I'm walking paths. As I was walking this path, I finally came into a position to where I realized that no box is the best box to be in. I realized that looking at every culture, not religion, each and every culture in the world, you see different forms of religion. You see different practices of religion. And you start developing a wider sense of who you are and what you are in this universe. And this is awakening. So when you see somebody and it looks like they're going from this and then going to that and doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that, remember that they were probably raised Christian and became awakened later in life. So they have things that are innate in them, that's almost born in them, that they do that's against what they now understand. So they look like they just fall for anything. They look wishy-washy. But they're not. See, when people follow these people, you have to be careful, because everyone's awakening is not for everyone. Feel me? Everyone's relationship with God is not everyone's relationship with God. Now there is commonalities in these things. You know what I mean? There are common understandings between all of us. And those things, those are the things I try to focus on. Those common things. This is kind of a surface draw into the conversation, and I don't want to keep you any longer, because I realize, you know what I mean, people got things to do. Anybody sit up here listening to my ass all motherfucker, man. So y'all have a good day and a prosperous day. Hey.